Welcome to Sister Sis. I'm Calandra,
I'm Latoya.
and today we're coming back in with another session with Miss Brownell, and she's going to be talking a little bit more again about life planning. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump right on back in and ask a few more questions to Miss Brownell. So, what's one of the most valuable lessons you've learned throughout your journey with life?
Well, and kind of as I mentioned before, it's like you have to learn to reinvent yourself. And there's so many lives that you can live, and there's so many things that we can do, and so many ways we can contribute. And so I think that you know, being open-minded to what those changes are and what those kind of evolutions are is it can be really, really helpful in terms of, maybe also, first of all, taking pressure off yourself, like, oh my God, if I don't reach this by this date, I'm not going to
Mhm.
have this. And, there's just things I'm trying now that I never tried, so it's like you can get to a certain age and you're still learning new things and still trying new things and still evolving and growing and contributing and hopefully making a difference.
Right, right. How do you measure yourself with yourself? Success, excuse me, with yourself.
It's funny because I used to be so, and I still am, there's still a big part of me that's really, goal driven. Like, for example, I launched my trilogy last year and I'm like, I want to sell this many and I want to have this much achievement and I want to reach this many people and I want this many reviews. And it's done extremely well. And yet, it's not reaching, it's like you set the goals really high and you're like, okay, well, but if I didn't reach that goal, what happens and how do I react to that? And so and then you kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to set a new goal. And sometimes you'll set a goal in the past, and then it's not until the next something else happens that the first thing went off. It's kind of like the Dan Brown Da Vinci Code. He wrote that other book, Angels and Demons, before he wrote Da Vinci Code, but it wasn't until Da Vinci Code took off that Angels and Demons took off. And so sometimes there's a timing element of that. I wrote a book about the 5 reasons why bad things happen. And I started writing a book about the 5 reasons or the reasons why good things might or might not happen, right? And so sometimes there's a timing element in things. So you can work on something and it's just either not the right time for you or not the right time for the world to have that. But when the right time happens, you've got it ready. So that's I could think one of the ways I like to look at it.
Measure that. Okay. What's something you're still working on in your personal or professional life that you would like to share?
Well, from a self-development standpoint, realizing that looking at kind of how things pieces can fit together and how I can look at some of the ventures I had in the past and think, what should I have done differently or what could I do differently? And so kind of looking at some of those things and also realizing, well, wait a minute, there's something that and I'm sounding really cryptic, but I'll give an example in a second, that maybe I have the skill, but I tried going this direction with it, and now maybe I need to go another direction with it. And as I mentioned, I'm working on this thing called a Hero's Playbook that's going to be out soon. And it's for people to go through and find their own hero, whether they're writing a story about a hero or they're the hero of their own story. And as I'm doing, I was like, wow, all of these skills that I had from the past that I used in a specific way are being put into this project. And yet at the same time, I'm not going to go for this, do the same kind of trajectory for that as I've done in the past, because I'm not going to get caught up on some of the things that maybe I was too ambitious in an area that really wasn't my strength or my interest. Like my strength is creating this stuff. There are other people who are going to be great at facilitating it. So I'm going to look
Right.
for other people to facilitate it and I'll help them, but let me do what I do well, which is the creative part. So that's a big thing that for me to learn is like, okay, this is what I think this is where it's going to go better.
Kind of staying in your own lane. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
exactly.
you the
Well
most
put.
strongest? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Why would you say forgiveness is so important?
Yeah, I also started this whole playbook journal thing with a forgiveness journal, which I will come out with, and started really looking at forgiveness as a significant shift this past year. It's been really, really powerful. My first book, the Reasons Why book, I have a chapter on forgiveness, and I was looking at in that book, I looked at forgiveness in a way that's kind of more typical, for example, okay, if you want to be forgiven, you have to go through 4 steps, which is, you have to apologize, you have to admit wrongdoing and be clear, you have to make amends, and you have to not do it again, right? And, these kind of things that like guidance on forgiveness. And in the last year, my whole mindset on it has changed a lot. I even have a forgiveness meditation that
Mm,
that people can listen to free. But it's really, really powerful when you start realizing hurt people hurt people.
mhm,
So if someone hurt you, that means someone hurt them.
mhm,
So if you're forgiving, you don't just forgive them, you have to forgive, or you should forgive the people who hurt them too.
mm.
And then you look at who hurt those people. All of a sudden, you've got this room full of people that you're starting to forgive, right? And it's not like, oh, okay, it's okay what you did, or yes, you can come and do that to me again. It's not that, right? You have to protect yourself. But that's kind of the first aspect, is to look at who hurt that person and how big does this get? Does it hit their family? Does it hit their ancestry? How far back does it go? And then you start shifting that energy to, I need to forgive myself too. I
Mhm.
need to forgive that part of me that put me in that situation, that allowed that to happen to me. And then I have to look at, well, are there aspects of my family and my ancestry and my circle and other people? And so it starts becoming this whole different energy thing. And I kind of was thinking, forgiveness really has a weight to it. Like, and holding, I even have an activities like holding a grudge. What does a grudge look like?
Mhm,
What's it feel like? What does it taste like? It's heavy, you know? But if
mhm.
you can let that go, all of a sudden, I mean, you letting go of the weight of forgiveness, is like you can feel so much lighter. So,
Right.
so it's a different angle on it that I've been working on this year. It's really been fun.
What do you have to say to someone that's really having issues with, like, trying to plan out their life or just trying to understand how to navigate life? And what do you have to say to them?
I have to say that, you really need to get your own introspection. You have to know yourself as well as you can know yourself. I think that one of the things that I talk about, of course, the reasons why bad things happen, one of is subconscious sabotage,
Mhm,
and that your subconscious can be your body. And so you can have a part of you that, your mind says, I want to do this, but your body might go, do I really, do I really want to work that hard? Do I really want to, do I want to go to the gym, or do I want to go to the bar, whatever it is. And you have to realize that dynamic. And the more you can work together with your body, I think and make sure that you're not sabotaging yourself on some level, is really, really crucial. And the best analogy I use for that is kind of like when you're with a dog, right? And you're walking your dog, and you can be walking your dog and the dog runs off, and I see so many people yelling at that dog, "Get back here, don't go that way." But that's not the best way to motivate a dog, right?
mhm.
Best way to motivate, "It's fun this way, come on," and the dog will come. You know? So it's
Right.
like, don't fight with yourself. Find something that you can get on board with on all kind of mind, body, spirit level.
Gotcha. Okay. I know you've talked about a few of your projects and your books throughout us here and in the previous session as well. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us about your books and your projects that you're currently working on?
Just that, I'd love for people to check out my books. I have a new trilogy out that's about it's kind of this epic reincarnation mystery, and love story about a famous couple from history who's reincarnated today to fulfill a prophecy that'll change the world. So that was so much fun. And if you're into that kind of thing, it's really great. And just, check if, I mean, I'm the only Brownell Landrum in the world, so you can Google me and find out all my other projects. I have a short story that's free to anybody who wants to read it. It's really a lot about kind of an experience I had last year, and it's already in 2 parts now, and it's just getting a lot of really good reviews on it. So I'd love to share that. And I have a Facebook group that you can, learn about. It's called Life is a Trip. And just, whatever, if anything I've said resonates, I'd love to hear from fans. And, I'd love to share my work.
Okay, okay. And if you don't mind, if you can share all of those handles and everything with us, then we can list it, at the bottom of your video as
That would
well.
be great. I would love it.
Okay, before we close here, is there anything else that you would like to leave with our viewers? Any positive thought?
Just try to have fun. Try to remember that
All
dog
right,
and
that's a
say,
good
this
one.
is fun. Try to see. I mean, life is, can be really challenging. And it can, and right now, I think in the world, we're dealing with some special things that are challenging.
Right.
And, you've got to remember to have fun and make it worth it, so.
Try to have fun. That's a good one. I think
Yep.
that's a good one. That is a good one. Well, thank you so much for your time here today, Miss Brownell.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I
thank
enjoyed
you
it.
so much. So until next time, there is strength in sisterhood.
And supporting sisterhood.
Bye.
Bye.